Well, hey, good morning or afternoon or evening or whatever it is, wherever you are at the moment. With my guest today, it is nighttime in New South Wales, but it's morning over here, so we're covering both ends of the globe in both time zones, or both extremes of time zones. Um, so I have with me Dave Henderson from Hop Clover Brewing in Mudgee, New South Wales, Australia. Now, before I'll let you know, because you won't be able to recognize it, but Dave is not actually an Australian. You'll be amazed at his accent, so it'll be hard for you to figure it out. So, Dave, where exactly are you from?
So from Derry originally, um, born and bred, and I left when I was 18. I went and joined the Navy, and then probably 13, I would have done about just short of 12 years, I transferred across to the Australian Navy.
Okay.
That was my I was one of the boat people, you could say, almost. But I pretty much just jumped the queue. Um, And within 3 months of being here, I got a passport. I got a diplomatic passport and uh, engineering background. So I was a marine engineer, and now I had no idea why I got into that, except for a career teacher at school told me you should join the Navy, son. You're up to all sorts of trouble. He says his words exactly were, I've had a really good week on one of the ships and all we done was party. That's exactly where you want to go. So that was that was me, blink. It was locked in, and to this day I still work for Navy as well. So I still do part-time what they call reserve work. So but very much not on ships as much. I'm moving into like infrastructure in the States. So yeah, look, out of all of that, obviously I got involved in brewing whilst I was in the Navy too, up in Darwin. Bored out of my head, too hot to go outside. What else would a dairy man do? And think, well, let's make some beer. So and that was all the extract kits and stuff. It was a real basic setup, but yeah, that was the start of it. And then someone brought me an all green kit, and off it went. And as we've mentioned before, it would have been about 2017. We, registered the business number for Hop and Clover, and here we are, still surviving, but I'm probably not as fast as and flamboyant as some of the others. I'm just, I believe in just keep making beer, and keep making a better beer, and just really just simplify, make sure there's no stress, make sure I enjoy it, because then your passion and everything comes through naturally.
Because you basically you kind of opened the brewery by accident, almost.
Yeah. So it all goes back to, I actually was away with the Navy doing a evacuation of an island called Amby Island. There was a volcano eruption, and we were evacuating all the people onto an island onto Vanuatu. And essentially I raced this in one of my mates on there, and essentially, I done 2 weeks of that. I come home and got a phone call saying, "Hey, we're Channel 7. We're coming. We want to come round to yours tonight." I hung up. Straight away, going, "He's pulling my leg," So taking the piss here, like. So I walked straight into work, and I started looking at people, going, "Right, what's going on?" And they were all, because they hadn't seen me for 2 weeks ago. And then they start laughing. So I automatically think they're all guilty, but they're just laughing because of my reactions. I don't know what I've got no idea. Anyway, I thought about it and went, oh, that call's come back again. So I took it, and Channel 7 basically said, look, we want to come and do a sunrise breakfast show at your property and have a look at this backyard brewing setup and stuff. I was like, okay, fair enough. So they come that evening, they come around, and they done the drinking shots and stuff, because I couldn't do that at 7:30 and breakfast show. And they breathalyzed me on the way in the gate, and I think they were lining me up too. They were like, as soon as, so we done that shoot that night, but as soon as I come through the next day, they were like, but you were drinking on there. And I said, but that was last night. So, it's not quite, But they done a live stream then in the morning, and I had them all talking away and laughing, and my wife was there involved, and the kids, and we went down and looked at the gear. Like, it was just a 200 litre Blickman system, you know. But like I say, I went out thinking it was just a little bit of a homebrew gear, and came back with a brewery. So the title goes, Northern Ireland man cheats wife into brewery. So I'm not sure how that got lost in translation. Maybe I do have a bad accent in the translation, you know. So, but look, that was our segue. I went on Gumtree, Facebook, Belfast Telegraph. My mum's reading the Belfast Telly, like she gets every day, and she had no idea I was doing this. And all of a sudden, she's reading page 3. Now, page 3 in a newspaper sometimes means something else, but I had my top on, so thank you very much. But yeah, there was one big tit on the page 3, and that was me. So my mum's like, phone me up, going, son, you're famous. And I said, no, mum, I'm in this shit. So yeah, it was all of that sort of stuff all happened at once. Made it to China, America. There was all these different, you know, blogs and stuff, and the home brewer beer and brewer magazine, and on to that. So, look, and that's where we sort of went, hey, we can have a laugh about this, or let's try and push it to the level, you know. And we did get good feedback in our beers even before then. And people say, oh, that's a really nice Irish red, because I was always pushing that side of things, you know. But I was trying to Aussiefy all my sort of beers rather than being stouts, and you know, it's the climate we're in. You just can't do that, you know. It's too hot. So you need to lighten, lift it, you know, make it a little bit more refreshing, rather than heavy, stodgy, creamy stuff that we're used to back home.
And so it just went from, like, you bought the brewery, or you bought what you thought was a homebrew kit. You ended up somehow or other world famous, and then it was just like, okay. So, but at that stage, were you living? I'm not clear. Were you living in Mudgee already at that stage, or were you?
I was in Sydney, a place called Bexley. It's just south of Sydney, not far. And it's funny, like, they had the big van with the antenna, and everyone's like looking up the street, going, "What's going on here?" You know, is he in trouble or something? But there's no police cars, and it was just a news van, you know. And then I got the crew; they got involved, and I was starting to give them samples of beer too. So I think the camera crew were very happy. You know, they were just getting lubed up, you know. So yeah, look, like I said, we sort of stepped back from it all and went, look, we can have a laugh, and we went through the little steps of just getting the license, and it was all slow. Our first year, for example, would have been, let's just sell a keg, 1 keg, you know, realistic achievements, and goals.
It wasn't your full-time job then, basically.
No. It was funny, like, one of the breweries we went into to do our first brew, we wanted to be there brewing with them, and there were sort of big wigs, and I'll not name anyone, but you know, they've got hope in their name somewhere. They essentially brewed it without us even being there, and I was devastated. Like, and then they sent the kegs to a pub that I didn't even arrange to have these kegs. I'm still waiting to ask the guy, you know. And these kegs have turned up, and it's all happened like within days. And I'm like, whoa. And then I had to move my kegs from that pub. He was very upset because it was raining when they turned up, so he got wet. So I had to move them then to another cellar at a golf club, and so it wasn't an ideal start, you know. But as I said, I put my hand up to the guy and said, look, I'll own this, but I had no idea that they were coming. I didn't even know they were brewed until yesterday. So, you know, it just all happened within, you know, we thought it'd be a month or two before we come in. And then we had a tap takeover at a little brewery called Flat Rock Brewing in North Sydney. And we had a queue of about 150 people just queuing up the street trying to come in. And essentially, we brewed the beer at this brewery, and he just gave us, he was real nice, nice offering that he gave us to do the tap takeover and the kickoff of Hop Clover. We had a choc cherry stout, we had a ginger beer, we had the pale ale, you know, on tap, and an Irish red. So we literally, with great little numbers to sort of start out with. that was our sort of kickoff. And then I think the second year we might have sold 24 kegs. The next, it was just baby steps, And I remember running around all the pubs trying to give them samples, and them going, "Yes, please," and never. I don't think I succeeded with anyone that drank the nothing to do with the beer, but it was more to do with contracts and stuff. And that's where I learned. As soon as I walk in the pub, what I see on the tap, I'll just walk out.
Right.
Because there's no chance.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Irish pubs are probably the most difficult. It's so hard. It's so heavily contracted.
Yeah, they do a lot of. I presume it's the same over there, like where they'll kind of provide all the furnishings and stuff, and then you're tied into a. Yeah. So you were. Oh, that's not one of your own, though. You said.
No, it's one of my favourites. It's a really nice beer called the Colonial Brewing Company. So beautiful beers. Good drop.
Okay. I'm like I said, it's early morning here, so I'm still on coffee. So.
Fair enough.
But yeah. So like what it sounds like is though you went direct to contract brewing, even though you had the kit. Was it because the kit was still not enough, or how come you the time?
No, we brought our kit to the Flat Rock Brewery, for example, and we would do small batches of ginger beer there and stuff. So we were doing certain types, but to get like the pale ale going, and we thought, let's get the 20 kegs, and that'll keep us going for let's get that 1,000-liter batch.
Okay.
And they would cover for a bit of duration, even if it was 6 months. They still they last a year. So but yeah, the first beer we released was supposed to be a pale ale, but we underhopped it, and it came out really bitter. So we called it the bitter ale. And funny enough, all the taps were just there were so many pale ales. Like the bitter ale was like, oh, this is different. Let's get that on tap and give it a go, and that took off really well.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, I suppose that's a thing for a lot of brewers that. Everybody's producing IPAs and that, but something a little bit different can kind of people are looking for something a bit different as well a lot of the time. So, I give you opportunity.
But so myself and my wife Cherie, the boss, we literally just invested $10,000 into that roughly. That was the start of it, and we've just let it go back in and obviously added a bit here and there for other costs. You get your license costs, you got your insurances, your accountants, and all that sort of stuff, But it's no, even to this stage, it's no more expensive than a golf hobby,
Right.
So, but at least this is growing.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I suppose like if you're I've never been hugely into golf, but or any hobby, but if you're doing it, it's there and it's gone. You've experienced it, but at least you have something you're making and that you can kind of see people enjoying. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, and absolutely. And initially, it was all the novelty was good doing beer festivals, and that's sort of gone. But I still enjoy doing them, but for a better reason, not just for getting out and getting amongst different. I've actually that's all sort of pushed to the wayside now. It's all about making sure our beers are the highest quality, and. As you said, making sure the consumers are smiling.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't really want them. I'm not bothered. People always go, "Oh, they want to get awards," and I think myself and Sheree both would agree on this that we just wanted to be under the radar, a bit humble, a bit modest, and just let it find its way, naturally without pushing it.
Yeah.
So,
I always have not a suspicion, but like every brewery seems to have awards. It seems to be, if you go to the right place, you get an award, and that's it. So they don't really mean anything,
I done one once, and they were supposed to, we'll give you really good feedback, and my feedback was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, I never touched the bloody, contesting or competition again. I was just like, nah. Yeah. You know what? Half the time, popularity contest. And it's about who knows who. And look, if they're drinking your beer and it's the 20th, they're not going to get anything out of it, So at the end of the day, the data will tell if your beer's moving and it's getting better and better and better and better and better. That to me is the real data. That's the award.
Yeah,
So
And so how does that tie in with Mudgee then? Like you moved from Sydney into, I don't know how big Mudgee is. I'd never heard of it before I came across you. But like you seem to be very focused now on being kind of a local brewery. So I just wonder how that changed things.
so I'll give you a quick intro as well on the Mudgee world. So I was in an Irish pub in Sydney called the Mercantile, and I might have been a little bit, loose on the dance floor, and I might have made some really good moves. And I think Cherie fell for me, so we she convinced the sailor to move 4 hours inland to Mudgee.
Right.
And I was like, still confused a wee bit. I'm like, what am I doing here? But oh, lo and behold, I really do enjoy it. It's a good change, and it's very progressive. It's very innovative, very sophisticated little country town. A lot of them are quite sleepy, but Mudgee just seems to have that age where they support small business, they support, growth. I think there's a couple of thousand businesses, and there's only 22,000 people roughly in the region. So there's loads of little people just working on loads of different things, and we're always looking at how to improve it. They communicate well, they work well together, they collaborate. We do festivals together. We do a big street festival called the Flavors of Mudgee, where all the wineries, the breweries, all the craft, all the food, all that produce, raw produce, is a big party on the street. It's one of my favorite days, to be quite honest.
Right.
But yeah, look, it's they don't allow big shopping malls to move in either.
Okay.
So you don't have the stores that take out and wipe out small business.
Yeah.
They pro small business. They've got a good mayor. He also owns a pub, and he has my beer on tap. So when you're in with the mayor, so
all sorted.
my mission in life, and the guys at work always say I'm the mayor of Mudgee, the future mayor of Mudgee, and I said, right, that's his challenge. I want to be the mayor of Mudgee.
So yeah, so you're just settled down there now, and you've been there a few years, and
been
how,
now
how did
3.5, 4 years.
but how did it change your beer or your brewing or your approach to it? To like, are you more
So
like,
I was always,
like there's a lot of local stuff. So are you kind of doing a lot more with local ingredients? Are you focusing that sort of, or did it kind of change anything at all?
good question as well. We actually have tried to grow our own acre of barley. Third time, and this time the first time it was the mouse plague. The second time it was destroyed by the floods. This time it grew perfect, but I couldn't get a combine harvester willing to come down and do an acre for me. So I was they were all chasing the 10, 20, 100 acres, not the little mini acre would take them 3 seconds to cut. So, and then by the time I got round to, we had a wet spell and it got moldy. So I had to let it go. But so that was my crack at trying to be a local producer. But that was a sailor trying to be a farmer, and it didn't go to plan. I didn't look at my toolbox properly and go, where's that combine harvester? Where's my header? It was essentially I'm the that didn't know what he was doing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been brewing at one of the local breweries there as a gypsy brewer, and I was doing that in Sydney before, and it was costing me a bit of money for transport and working within their breweries. Now the one up there in Mudgee, I've managed to streamline my raw materials better.
Okay.
I've got lower transport costs, and it's full hands on. Before I would have just helped brew it, but not got involved in the packaging, that side of it. So now I'm like from the cradle to the keg now. So that's the difference. I've really honed in on my own skills and my own ability, on understanding. And the big challenge coming from Sydney to Mudgee, I was worried about the water quality and stuff, but you know what? I just stuck to the plan and just done it as I would, and the little brew house, which did have a bad reputation for a while, They're doing really, before even I got there, they've started to turn a corner and they're doing really well. So
And
they
are they?
supported me.
Yeah, sorry, I just wondering, like, are they brewing their own stuff, and you're kind of the only other client, or do they focus on a lot of kind of?
They've got another guy too, Josh, and his brewery, Zigzag Brewery, and he's similar to me. He's gypsy brewing as well at the minute, but he's got plans to move in, and he's got a venue and everything, but
Okay.
he's just waiting for all the legalities and the agreements and stuff. It can take quite some time. So good on him. He's getting in there and building that foundation. Young lad, only 24, proper, really switched on young fella and very determined. So actually, he's an inspiration to me. I'm 45, but I'm just watching him and his sort of eagerness to. I'm like, that's good. It's helping me along too.
Yeah.
So we bounce off each other, and probably more I bounce off him for a bit of guidance on that system, because he was brewing on it for quite some time before me. So it's good to get the guidance, and
Yeah.
it's funny. There's no buttons in this system. It's valves and a pump switch. That's
Okay.
it. So it's proper grassroots brewing system, but it's electric steam, so it's a great cook. It cooks so well. Doesn't scorch. I find a lot of electrical ones, when it's elements, they scorch, and
Okay.
you're always cleaning elements, scrubbing them back. With this one here, jacketed steam, beautiful. It is, it's actually, I've been in a lot of breweries and I'm really taken to this one, so I'm very happy at the minute with that.
Right. And then you're brewing there how often? Like, do you do it every week?
Probably once a month. And it's funny, they only brew on a Monday, Tuesday, because they open the restaurant at 12 on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we really only got 2 days to get the dirty work done.
Okay.
Look, we can egg and stuff when people are there, but I can. The brewery house is sort of inside the restaurant, so when you're sitting eating, you can look over at the side wall and see all the tanks, and
Right.
and it's really funny enough. It goes even deeper in the history books that it used to be a wool shed, the sheep shears,
Yeah.
and my father, well, Gandhi Phillips, his name is. He used to sell like I think it was possum skins and stuff. He used to sell to there, and they have a big press for pressing the wool, and and he now knows a lot of people and a lot of history and a lot of knowledge about what went on there before the brewery and even during the brewery, because there was talk of when the wool season was off, when the wool shearing, the sheep shearing was off season, they would make beer. So it's sort of
Okay.
potentially. Now, don't hold this to record. Like, it's more. That's why I'm trying to get this information together. And the father-in-law knows the owner, who's like 90 odd, and he's willing to come in soon and sort of spill the beans for us on, on what happened. So I'll tell you what, if it's anything to do with my father-in-law, there'll be a few beans to be spilled. I reckon he's a proper, he'll be into everything back in the days.
Right.
So he's
So
a
some of
proper.
those may not want you mightn't want some of those stories to come out.
We'd be sneaking sheepskins out or something. Oh, let that one slip. But a lot of history there, so I'm keen to try and get that. Before it's too late. So that's probably something I want to try and focus on in the next few weeks. Even if we get them in for a quick beer, record.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want video, if we just get the voice, get that
Yeah.
knowledge.
No. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff there in behind the scenes. It's such a it's a good place to be.
Right. And is that in the center of the town then, or?
Right in the centre. And now they do call Mudgee the centre of the universe. When you have people from Mudgee go, centre of the universe. And I used to run around going, where's this universe? Funny enough.
See, I dispute now. Being from Cork, I'd be kind of like, Cork's the center of the universe. So we can fight it.
I'll tell you what, it's very similar to Ireland. There's always someone that knows someone from Mudgee.
Right.
Swear to God. I've been on a ship, and I've had in a 5 berth. I've had 3 people. One went to the guy that slept above me. His sister went to school with my wife. And I didn't know them. So this is all where this is like proper. I think it's backwards going forwards. You know.
Yeah, it sounds kind of familiar, all right, but yeah, it's always a bit of a shock when you come across those sort of connections. But
100%. But
so
yeah,
yeah, go on.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I was just going to say, last little bit of background as well. That it's not all about the making the beer. So behind the scenes, my wife would do all the branding, the graphic design side of things, and she would do all the posts on Instagram, Facebook. We don't really do many posts. We just like to post when we've got something to
Right.
say, or I think if I come across something funny, I might slap it in there too. But we don't just like force feed and stuff. It's about we just let you know when there's something happening,
Yeah.
there's something new, something changed, and maybe a little holiday wishes here and there, but yeah, she puts a lot of hard work into doing the books and the background and stuff as well. So it's not just I'm just the gobshite on the front,
Yeah.
As the,
The real work's done done elsewhere. Um,
exactly.
so, but you also started doing gin, or didn't you?
Yeah, so we contracted the gin, and it's from a distillery just down in Sydney here, just to try it out. But we've called it the Kenny Bay gin, So the branding's called Sailor and Clover,
Okay.
and then we labelled it Kenny Bay because that was my first watering hole, in Donegal. I used to go there and drink tea, in the beach and look at chickens running around and whatever else, But there wasn't many people there, that's for sure. It was too cold.
So, and is that's just kind of a side marketing, or is it like was
It's
it just giving it a chance, or what led to doing it?
uh, it's more Cherie's idea, and I do agree. It buffers the beer a bit from gives it a bit of a boost. The
Right.
margin's quite low in beer sometimes, whereas the gin's quite, it's probably double almost, to what beer can be, depending on how you're selling. But look, we've had people come back looking for it all the time. It's elderflower, chamomile, and tea. So and it's yeah, I'm not a big gin fan normally, but I quite like it, or even on the rocks. So we nip of it on the rocks,
Yeah.
lovely. But yeah, look, it sells well. We only do one batch a year, normally around Christmas. We just done one recently, and it sells out.
Okay.
It goes out real quick, real well, So I just done 100 bottles to one of the naval ships as well. So I've done their own little label and stuff, So they've got now their own gin, and I made a pallet's worth of beer for them too, with their own label. So when they go to like foreign, like Pacific countries and stuff, they have cocktail parties,
Oh, all right.
and they can show. To me, it was more of a bucket list, a sentimental bucket list for me, because I've been in the Navy all my life. So, but they asked me, I never forced it to them, But I've always been doing little car park sort of, hey, you want a 4-pack, sometimes, But oh,
Uh,
I found this in my car. I found I found that 4-pack in my car, But there's been a few people so very supportive, and the local pubs around the base have my beer on tap too.
okay.
So I take my clients there for if they want a quick beer after work, and then they end up drinking mine, and then the quickest beers. Oh, Clover.
But so
Uh,
so are you selling mainly in Mudgee then, or is like you have some around the bases in Sydney, or like where's your
uh,
distribution,
so
cans, kegs?
cans and kegs, but compared to last year, we were in quite a few bottle shops. But it by the time you got paid, you'd lost your margin. You're wasting your time. You're just chasing your tail all the time, And so I've dropped. Unless they're good and they pay well, I'll keep them going. But if they're not paying well, they're not getting it. That's as simple as that, And it's we've now streamlined to local. We do the markets, we do the festivals, online sales as well. So we're going to push online a bit harder
Okay.
this year and try and get direct sales, and then that way we manage cash flow better. And I just find that chasing around after bottle shop.
Yeah.
It's I'll be honest. I think I started doing that about a year ago, but a lot of the breweries now have pretty much copying. I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter, but I think when you're small like ourselves, you kind of you probably move that way before they would, because you see it coming.
Yeah.
They've got more cloud in the way, whereas we've got a clear vision and of how we're moving.
Yeah.
So essentially, we're local, but I do push a bit on the Navy now. Well, since they've requested it, I'm working with them quite a bit as well. So yeah, that's sort of our looking. To be honest, if we get that bigger margin and I make less beer, but I get more money, well, that's it.
Yeah.
This is us streamlining a natural instinct business model, where when we do get the moment to pull the trigger for the big step to having a full blown brewery, we've already established the basics. We've got that all going. So it's just a matter of open up, and then you've got your people coming in, as
And
well.
is that the plan to open your own brewery?
Look, I'd say yes. It's still a plan, but we're going to this year. We want to do a half step, so we would like to open a cellar door, where I'll probably have 4 taps, for example, do tastings and takeaways, and then do just like ticketed events or special events. A couple of festivals around the area. Where it may be located. We do have a few things. We've got a venue lined up potentially for that, but we're just in the negotiating stages and looking at it to see what work needs to be done to get it to a good standard of being open to public. Look, I can see that probably in the next 6 months coming to fruition. And we'll just see where it takes us, and it just means I probably have to give it really jump in a bit further again. And maybe, but I'm very lucky. I still have Navy Reserve days and stuff and I couldn't imagine opening a brewery now with big money, because you need deep pockets. We're in a bad stage over here. From the globe is as well, but the economy's tight, inflation's bad, interest rates are up, the price of gas, electric, so all them overheads. So I'd rather, and this is why I'm happy to help out with the other breweries and feed stuff back into them, because they need it. And Mudgee's not going to be a brewery region with one brewery. With a handful, it becomes a destination. And that's, we've got to try and look after each other. There is another 3 breweries in Mudgee as well, physical ones. So we generally work okay together. Like, there's always a wee bit of, what are they up to, but that's just natural competitiveness, but I do see a bit of community there, so
that's important.
Compared to Sydney, maybe a bit better in Mudgee,
And so the other thing, actually, you can touch on it there, but we didn't actually discuss, was the beers themselves. So, like, what are you producing now, and what's selling, and just
So I think we mentioned before, like, we've got our sort of core range would be the pale ale. I've got the mid strength called the wee one. I've got an Irish red ale and the seasonal one. We've got a Pacific ale, as we just released last year, and that was meant to be the wee one, but full ABV, full strength. Now, my original Pacific I made in the can probably early last year would have been a bit more bitter, but I just made it for the kegs recently at the local brewery, and it's just come out delicious. So I'm really, really happy where it is, and it's going back to the origin a bit, so it's going back to what it should have been. I think the reason I didn't get it there initially is the postman didn't turn up in time or something, with the hops. So maybe lack of plan on my side, but sometimes as a gypsy brewer, you've just got to get in when you can.
Yeah,
you've just got to get in and make it happen, right? What have I got? Oh, let's think of an alternative, a good substitute. And I've learned a lot on substituting, and sometimes it works. You just slight tweak, and today we're craft brewers. We're not Coopers or Heineken here. Where it's expected to be.
And like you said, you're able to just rebrand it if it's not quite what you want it to be. You call it something else.
Well, luckily, I haven't. I've done that once with the first one, but I haven't had to do it since. So that's a testament to what we're doing. You know, um, a little bit of quality control at the brewery, but I also always like benchmarking a jug. I'll try and drink a jug of the beer,
Okay.
and that's my benchmark because that puts it into the four schooner, or the whatever 3 pints, range where you go right, drink them, and I'm feeling fine, and I'm not bloated, and so I try. I might put out there for volunteers to come and drink a jug with me.
Okay.
I'm sure a 1,000 people turn up.
I'm sure you'll have a few, all right. But is it all like you were mentioning, temperature and how hot it is there, and that you need something more refreshing? Does that apply? Is it kind of lower ABV more popular? Do they tend towards higher? Or?
No, look, it's funny. Some of the beer nerds, we call them, the real craft beer drinkers, they like their big IPAs and stuff. But I think the general public are really heading down the other end. They're like in the mid strengths, the light beers, and almost the zeros are turning.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of people going, "Why aren't you making zero?" And I says, "Well, do you want to? I've got some water on the back here if you want to try some." But it's probably not my market. I don't have enough. And I've no investors. I've got probably not enough backing to
Yeah.
achieve that. Yeah, that could be some 5 years down the line. But um, I put an effort into making that mid strength called the wee one, and that's come out cracker. It's has a dry hop and everything, so it really comes out like it's a full beer, but it's only 3.5%. So it's definitely goes well in the sports clubs and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, but the biggest seller would be the pale in the Pacific, and then the wee one sells well at like the sports events and stuff. I would like to this year. I would like to try and get into a couple more, like like a day at the races or something. I feel like I want to try and push a bit harder at that and do maybe an extra market somewhere. Markets are fantastic. Like it's between 8:30 in the morning and 12:30, I sell more beer than I would ever sell at a bottle shop in a year. You
Really?
know, yeah, 100%. Because Mudgee's quite a touristy place as well.
Okay.
So people coming through, and then I've got a good local following too. And they always come and get my little 4 packs and take them home. So I do offer free delivery. But I think they're probably my wife's Cherie scared that I might turn up and have a beer with them. Never. So that's always a risk. Davy boy here likes to talk, as you can tell.
And is that going to apply also free delivery with your online sales? Are you going to be personally delivering it?
Well, you know what I always wanted to do? I always wanted to get a horse and cart. And my maiden batch at my brewery, I want to get it delivered by a horse and cart. And that's just me. That's me. Wild and wonderful ideas. I also want to get one of them bicycles. You pedal. People pedal and drink,
Oh, yeah, I've
and then
seen.
you have. I want to get one of those for like a seasonal beer brewery tours. So now it's this. What we're surviving as well. That's the key thing. We're agile. No debt, no stress.
Yeah, well,
Um, that's important to me. Especially I've got I got 3 kids under 8, and I have an 18-year-old back in Derry as well. She's about to go to uni, so so I got my hands full.
yeah, it sounds like I'm surprised you find time to do anything really. Never mind brewing
And
and a navy job.
I
So
think the brewing actually a good distraction. It's a bit of mindfulness, because
yeah,
you're in the zone. You got your times. You gotta you gotta listen. You're listening for things. It's I love take some just disappear into the world of brewing. It's great.
right. Yeah, I think an awful lot of people feel the same way. Really. Um,
But
so
my home brewing don't exist anymore.
yeah,
Too many kids. I do miss that a wee bit. There's a little bit of it I miss, but maybe years to come down the line, I might keep experimenting with different things.
so how does that work actually? If you're not homebrewing, like when you decide you want to do a new type of beer, you don't go straight to the large one. So do you do a homebrew or what do you? How do you do
I'll
it?
try and do it. Like I've done a few already, and I've just put the recipes aside for when I'm ready. And one of them would be like a traditional IPA. So instead of being this big hoppy, fruity number, I've gone the other way. The traditional was a bit more floral,
Okay.
and a bit more humble, like it's like a modest, noble sort of drink, you know. So I'm keeping that up my sleeve, and then I'm probably going to do a stout for Paddy's Day this year, or I do my Irish Red again. I do have people asking for the Irish Red quite a bit. It's a smoky, malty toffee number, you know, real unique. It's not like traditional. I've Aussified it, and yeah, it's definitely got it. A lot of the whiskey drinkers love it because it's got that peatiness to it.
Okay.
You know, so from the smoked malt,
Yeah.
so that tends to go very well.
And
But
what?
the other
Yeah.
the other one I was just thinking of too, we do is a ginger beer. Now with the ginger beer, it's been hard this year to get it up and going because of the cost of it. It's rocketed up, and I think a lot of breweries too, when they do the ginger beers, they just add artificial flavorings and stuff, you know. So I want to do the real thing. So I'm in discussions with the ginger producers in Queensland, and I'm asking them, can they get me a bulk price and send it down in one container, you know, so that should come back in packaging and whatnot. So they've sent me some samples. I might have a crack at that in the next few weeks and see how that turns out, you know, and see what product works best, you know, whether it's the syrup or whether it's the powder, but it's all from fresh ginger, like, you know.
Okay. So how do you plan that out then? Like if you've got all these different beers, but you've got a very limited window in which you can brew each time. It's like how do you make it so that you're not brewing the same beer, you know, your one most popular beer all the time? Like how do you make the decisions on what
Stage.
to brew?
It's funny. Like when I'm in the markets, I tend to sell a lot of mixed packs, so they all move at the same rate.
Okay.
You know, we get all mixed 6-pack, two, and two, and
Okay.
I've got and I only have 3 beers out at the one time. And then you know, come Paddy's Day, I'll do an Irish Red. I might even do a stout, you know, but that'll do me for the winter.
Okay.
And I'll push that all the way. But yeah, it's like that's sort of how I'm doing it at the minute. I'm just, and as I look, I go, oh, I've only got 7 cases left, and I do a lot of kegs. You know, I'm doing a keg, and maybe a keg and a half a week at the pubs now. You know, which is, and I'm fighting against 22 other taps. You know, so I'm up there in the top 5. And I've been there for 3 years, so that's another testament to itself. Going, it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. You know, but it's really slow. I guess I'm doing the tortoise sort of approach instead of the Ferrari, you know. But we all get there at the same time. But I think the tortoise gets to drink a few more beers, you know.
Well, yeah, I hadn't thought about it in that term, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like if, like I said, you have your existing job with the Navy, and that, so it's not like you're relying on this that you have to make it, and you don't have debt, so you can take it at a pace that works for you. I mean, that's what everybody wants, isn't it, from their job?
Yeah, well, we're looking at maybe getting our own canning machine this year, but a small one. So I only can then on, because at the minute packaging's our biggest cost. So I look at it, go, well, what can I do? So if I buy the packaging setup, get my cans pre-made, of course, or we go back to labels, you know. But at the end of the day, because at the minute we get them printed for us, and then we get, well, and like a pallet's worth, and it's quite costly. So I just want to revisit that and try the labels and see if it makes a difference. Because at the end of the day, still a good beer, and as long as the label looks nice,
Yeah.
surely gets it over the line. Although the spray on the printed can it does look a bit more, you know, like you're up there with the big guns, you know.
Yeah.
But one little move this year I can see from an advancement to packaging, I think, is our next. And then my daughter, she's 18. She's looking to go to uni doing graphic design. So I'm like, let's get get it up to scratch, and you start get it into the family, free labor.
Nothing like child labor. That's why you have kids. They have to pay back all the investment, don't they?
100%. Well, that's all them nappies. All them nappies, you know. And all
Uh,
the
so yeah, so you're settled down there. You're growing it at a nice little clip that you're happy with. Do you see anything? You don't see anything major changing in the next year? Like it'll be, but it's also sort of like if something pops up, you're going to grab it with both hands. Like you won't let it go past.
I think so, but at the same time, I've had people interested, investors again, but I'm kind of going, I do look at the bigger picture and go, well, actually, but with all the cost of the overheads, just at this moment in time, it's not that sustainable to run a brewery. Never mind, you know, that's just a realistic picture right now. And I think I'm just going to keep my head down and just make money, not spend money, you know, is what I'm trying to get at. Just keep it simple. I can keep making good beers, you know, and there's a few things have happened over here. There's some of the bigger independent breweries that have world Australian famous top of the range beers, and they're all going into liquidation. So it has me looking at the picture, going, well, hold on, what are they doing wrong? You know, but a lot of it's they just overcapitalized all these overheads, and they've gone into it in debt. So if you're going into it in debt and you're growing,
Yeah,
it's you're not going to catch up. It's always going to be there, you know, and if not, it's going to get worse.
yeah.
So these are I've got no business acumen at all, but I do have a good vision. You know, I can a visionary there. You know, I can see a wee bit clear what we want to avoid. You know.
Yeah, because I've had a few people say that to me. You know that it's all great having your own brewery that you can make a huge amount of beer, but the big problem is you've got to sell it at the end. Like it's all great producing it, but you know, and then you've got your debt, so you have to sell it to kind of fund the debt or the investors, which means you have to brew more, and you're just in this horrible cycle that sooner or later just falls apart. Like
100%. And like you can get investors all you want, but it's you're just putting a band-aid on it. You're not fixing the problem. You know. So I just like keeping my options open and just seeing where I can put this. You know, I'll give you an example. I'm thinking beef jerky and stuff. You know, I've got a bit of beef jerky from the father-in-law. He's a retired butcher,
okay,
and I sell quite a bit of it here and there. Just you know, as a package with the beer and stuff. I was really thinking if I put that as a in with the cellar door or something, that could really sort of bolster. You know, something like that could be the breadwinner. You know,
yeah,
of just and that's the draw card, and that could push us into production then in our own facilities. You know.
yeah.
But it won't, like I say,
Yeah,
it's 7 years in, 7 years in, and we're now thinking, well, another three, we'll hit the 10 year mark, have another good review of it, and go, look, we just keep doing what we're doing, you know, and as long as I enjoy it, you know, I really I get a buzz out of being there and lifting these bags of barley up on top of the thing, and then getting the trailer and taking them out to the cows and feeding the cows, and you know, it's just. And then you're out there, people walking past, and you just 35-degree sweating buckets, and you know, all those beers that you've been drinking the past few days are just dripping out of you.
But like I said, it could be that or golf. You know,
I think golf seems to be a bit more gentle, and you know,
yeah.
but not. I lose too many balls, so at least in the brewery I gain some balls. You know?
All right. Well, so yeah, just I don't know if he's still here, but like you said, you saw. I'll just pop it up there. We saw Reese Adams, who
Reese,
you're a legend. So
so Reese is one of my Welsh. We used to live together. So Yaki Da to Reese Boyle, and he lives in Queensland now. Per bugger, up in Brisbane. So he seems to be enjoying life up there. You better come down to Sydney or Mudgee soon and catch up. That's what I say.
yeah, well, he can help you with the drugs, drinking those
But yeah,
jugs,
well, it was sort of. He can help us with what?
drinking the jugs, the testing.
Oh, he's the man. If there's any man that can do it, like he's definitely, and he'll probably have a guitar there too, so we can sing a few. at the same time, So, but yeah, look, there's a couple of other guys have been sort of putting it out there to keep an eye on it, but it's just sort of everyone's still on holidays here. Like Christmas here goes, it's like our summer in the UK, in Ireland,
All right.
where the school a month and a half.
All right.
So they're all. So this is the big holiday. So people are away doing whatever. But we stayed in Mudgee this year and had you know what? I didn't miss the cold weather, at all. I feel like I can't go back to Derry at Christmas. It's just,
Yeah.
I just
Probably
I
not the
can't.
best time. So
I think next time I'm going to.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, well, it's cold at the moment, so yeah, stay away a few more months. Yeah, just I don't know who if you also know Craig Ellison, but he just said well done, so there.
Aye, cheers, Craig.
So
At least Reese has gone to bed already.
must be. All right, David. Look, thanks a million for the time. It was a great chat. I really enjoyed learning more about Mudgee and about how you ended up down there. But no, it sounds like you know what you're doing, and like I said, you're the key is you're enjoying it, and it's also paying its way. So I mean, geez, what more do you want, really?
Exactly. And then I've got unlimited. I said worst case scenario, I'm knee deep in beer.
Yeah. That's your retirement sort. Your retirement beers.
That's an Irish wish, that one. May your knees be full with beer, or something like that,
All right, well, listen.
No, thanks for having us as well, and happy New Year. And look, hey, let's keep in touch. And
yep,
if anything significant, I'll definitely give you a yell as well, and we can go from. If you're ever over, come over, and we'll look after you.
Brilliant. I might try it someday. Probably, but like I said, maybe I'll have to work out the temperatures first because I have not adjusted to hot temperatures, unlike you.
Yeah. Nah, fair enough. Now, some of the days there was like 40. I think I hit 40 degrees one day. I was like,
no, I can't. 20 is as much as I can do, really. Might stretch
perfect.
At 25.
Yeah, perfect pub weather, isn't it? You have to get it cool, get in the aircon and drink some cold beer.
All right, David, I'll let you go. Like I said, thanks a million. And yeah, keep in touch, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a chat again soon. And we might get to see a picture of your horse and cart.
Fantastic. And do you have this recorded on your thing as well?
Yeah, it'll be it should be on YouTube and that now. As soon as I finish here, and then I'll put it on as a podcast audio thing by Thursday, probably.
Yeah, should we get some subtitles for the Aussies?
I don't know. You'll have to decide that. All right, listen. Bye.
Take it easy. All the best. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.